And joining us from Washington, D.C. to discuss the ban is a global affairs analyst, Calvin Dark. Good to have you join us, Calvin Dark. When you look at these recent unprecedented events in Jordan, which is regarded as one of the most stable countries in the Middle East, what does this signal for you?
Well, one, I think that it's definitely unprecedented. Not that there haven't been, internal struggles with the Jordanian royal family that those have been pretty well known in the past, but they haven't played out as publicly as this ever. When we look at things like, you have Queen Noor and then her, I guess that would be her ex-sister-in-law on Twitter trading almost insults over this. It just seems kind of unreal for such a stable power in the Middle East. But now when it comes to political significance, particularly for the U.S., it's kind of disheartening. The U.S. was one of the first countries to reiterate its support for King Abdullah and Jordan. But it also kind of brings into question, are they really going to be the stable partner that the U.S. has to depend on in such a vital region?
Now, Prince Hamza has now released or issued a statement pledging allegiance to King Abdullah. But do you think that these recent events signal to or are reflective of a bigger feud, in the royal family?
Yes, I think they do. And I think that most people realize that the statement, it was a product of a mediation between, I think, an uncle and a former minister. So how much Prince Hamza really feels about that, or how much he was probably, strongly persuaded to issue that statement, it's pretty, we can all assume what the dynamics were. But I think the bigger picture is that Prince Hamza has always been an outspoken critic against corruption, against mismanagement, against authoritarianism in Jordan. And I think that with the ban on even covering this for Jordanian news outlets, it makes Prince Hamza's case that he was being targeted because he spoke out about authoritarianism and corruption, and now the whole country of Jordan is not supposed to even talk about this investigation on social media or in traditional media outlets. So it ends up making his case.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, the Jordanians cannot even talk about these crises over the weekend. But one thing that we know is the fact that the opposition, Jordan's opposition, released a recording in which, the defiant crown prince said he would not obey orders from King Abdullah or authorities. Now, do you think that we're going to see more expression of discontent, against authorities in Jordan, especially when you look at the fact that the economy is also suffering?
Yes, I think that this only opens, as we say here in the United States, a can of worms, opens Pandora's box, because regardless of the response of the Jordanian power against Prince Hamza, this puts a bigger spotlight on those problems you mentioned, the economic problems, dealing with the problem in Syria. So I think this is only going to exacerbate it.
Analyst Calvin Dark, thanks for talking to us.